We are back and we're joined by an amazing guest. We got Marquel Mederos, fresh off a big win over Landon Quinones, UFC Vegas. What's up, man? How are you? Congratulations.
Man, I'm living good. I can't complain. How you doing?
Doing very well. Really impressed with your performance. It's your first official win in the UFC coming off of Dana White's Contender Series. Obviously super, you just got to be super excited. What was your first win in the UFC? How did that feel?
The first one is obviously good. My performance, I wish it was a little bit better, but you gotta realize that you can learn off wins just as much as you can off losses. So we're gonna take that as a learning lesson, and then we're gonna keep pushing from there.
Yeah, how were the people back in Commerce City? Are you back in Commerce City? Are you back home?
Yeah, I'm back home right now. I'm at my dad's right now.
Nice. So what was the reaction like when you got back? What was the family and everything? All the text. I'm guessing your phone was full, all that.
Man, I think I just finished like responding to people yesterday, and people were like, "Yeah, 4 days worth of text messages." I'm like, "Yeah, 4 days worth of text messages." But my family came out and they couldn't go to the fight because we don't get tickets to the Apex, but they ended up coming out and I ended up seeing them after the fight, so I'm before the fight, so that was cool. Yeah, my dad, his wife, my sister, my brothers, yeah, they're all out here for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to ask because I've done a little research on you, and I don't want to get like too much into the personal stuff, but I got to ask you: Are you still working at the seafood restaurant? Is that still are you still there?
Yeah, yeah, I am. I'm working at Papa Do's still, so
Yeah.
I mean, if y'all want to come in and get some seafood and see your boy, yeah, I'm still at Papa Do's right now. We got to
I
get a
mean,
couple
that's
more
like
checks.
I mean, how long? I got to imagine like one more win, and like you're gonna be like full time locked in the gym, right?
Yeah, that's why I keep saying I'm doing this while working a full-time job. Imagine when I
Right.
could put full-time in the training. You know what I
That's
mean?
that's insane,
I've
bro.
done
That's
it in
awesome.
a short amount of time. If you look at my career, I've been pro for 2 years, 6 months. Not many people are getting to the UFC in 2 years, 6 months.
Right. I mean, no, it's impressive. I mean, Landon, he's a really quality fighter too. I mean, and it's kind of like you're doing like a part-time job. That's awesome, man. Well, I hope that you're able to, put more time into it because obviously I see a lot of promise. But I saw that you made a comment about the Apex that you don't want to fight at the Apex anymore. You want to fight in front of a crowd. I think you got it. I think you got the personality to be in front of a crowd. You're an exciting fighter. But you might change your tune when you find out that Elon Musk supposedly rented out this weekend's fight at the Apex. I don't know if you heard about that. He's re
Oh
he
yeah, yeah, I know. I remember Zuckerberg did it a while back. I'm not
Yeah,
surprised that Elon did. He's probably there. I'm assuming for the Super Bowl, and then he's like, "Okay, we'll do this the night before. You got that kind of money, you can rent anything out, right?"
right. Yeah,
But
so I mean that's
even if it was just Elon watching, I mean, I love Elon, but it's different than having a crowd full of people, right? I mean, there's not, that energy is just different. I haven't fought myself, but I've been in many of my teammates' corners walking out to those fights, and it's just different. Like when you fight in the Apex, it almost feels like you're fighting on a regional scene fight, you know?
right, right,
So
right.
like I remember even in the fight, it was funny because I was watching the fight the other night, and there's a part where DC's like, Markel's entering with his chin too high, and I'm in the cage, and I'm like, damn, I am. Let me put my chin down. That's how intimate it is, which is I like
Right.
the intimacy, but I do want to be in front of a crowd.
Is that distracting at all when you can hear the announcers? Does that distract you at all? Does that like make you change your game plan at all or no?
Nah, none whatsoever. Son, man. I mean, you didn't get to see it this fight, but I talk in a lot of my fights. I think I did. I even talked to my coaches a little bit in my fight. I talked to my opponent. I'll talk to the commentators.
Yeah.
I mean, on those regional scenes, you get so used to hearing everything and seeing everything. I mean, that's normal.
Right, right, right. So what's next for you? Obviously, you said that I saw you mentioning that you want to take some time off. You fought 6 times in 11 months. That's a crazy amount of activity for the average UFC fighter. So what do you want next? Like, do you have a name in mind? Are you just hoping to maybe like get into the rankings somehow? Like, what's your plan?
Uh, no, I just want to take some time and grow for a second, and then I mean, you got to understand, like when you're fighting that frequent, you're more working. I'm not saying you're not growing, but you're growing in specific areas. Like my
Right.
last fight, not this previous one, but my last fight, It was for a Dagestani wrestler. So that
Okay.
camp is very wrestling based,
Right.
right? Which improves your wrestling, but it doesn't improve other areas as much. So I like to just take time and improve my overall game, and then I don't care who you. I mean, if it gets me an arena, give me an opponent. I don't care who it is.
Yeah. Um, well, I look forward to watching your next fight, but you got to get that time off. Just
Yeah.
I was curious your thoughts on this because you say you're gonna be taking a few months off, and I was just reading, it clicked in my mind. Michael Chandler is gonna be off for almost 2 years, supposedly by the time that him and Conor McGregor fights. Supposedly that he's not gonna come till this fall. He's in your division, but how what would be the longest amount of time you'd be willing to fight for a big payday? Because Michael Chandler, he's supposedly waiting like it's gonna be 2 years at this point between fighting Poirier and fighting McGregor. What would be the longest amount of time you would fight? You would wait to
It
fight for a big payday.
that depends where you're at in your career. Like you're early in your career, I mean, you don't kind of don't want to wait that long, right? Because
Yeah,
time is limited. But on the back end of your career, yes, time is limited, but the paydays are more. So you got to capitalize on what you can. I understand why he wants to wait. That motherfucker might want to wait 3 years to fight because
yeah.
that might be one of the last paychecks he gets. But if it's huge enough, you're changing the trajectory of your family's life for the rest of your years. So it just depends where I'm at in my career. I'm not willing to wait 2 years now. But let's say I was 30. How old is he? 35, 36?
He's like 37. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're 37, I mean, you might be willing to take off 35, 36 just because you already had a miles on your body. Why not wait a couple more years and get an even bigger paycheck?
Yeah. So, Markel, you've been through a lot in your life. You've been open about it. Just like after getting your first UFC win, have you had a moment to sort of like reflect and just look at how far you've come and where you are now? And just like, what do you have to say about that? Just the journey that you've taken to get to this point.
Man, it's crazy. I was talking to my dad after the fight, but it's me and my dad relationship has grown a lot over the past couple of years. I mean, we weren't really it would not do that lack of effort, but we just didn't connect for a lot of years. And then when I finally came out here, he actually got me into MMA and stuff. And that relationship has grown, but it's crazy where I came from because it's crazy the amount of people in my life now. Because I remember when I was in those situations and when I was homeless and stuff, there wasn't anybody on my phone. I remember looking at the phone and the phone be empty. So to have 4 days, 3 days worth of text messages in your phone, in a sense, is cool, but it's almost like, man. I guess you got to just take it positive. It comes with the territory. It's cool, but I just remember those days when nobody was on my phone and I was out here fending for myself. You know.
Did you hear what Joe Pfeiffer just said in his interview? He literally said the exact same thing. He said how middleweight Joe Pfeiffer that if you weren't supporting him, like if you weren't sending him those messages before he got successful, then he doesn't want those messages from you. He was literally talking about the same thing that all of a sudden he's getting that love now that he's successful. So do you feel like that's something that's going to come with becoming more famous, becoming more accomplished, that you're going to have to sort of know who the hangers on are and who the real ones are?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I especially. I mean, I'm assuming if he said that he's coming from the same situation I am, different story. Going through those situations, you learn to decipher like who's here for what purpose real fast because when you are on your lonesome, you get a lot of time to think. I mean, I don't think too much about it. I see people for what they are. People have nobody. That's the problem with people nowadays. Everybody thinks that they're bigger than what they are, right? But in reality, you're just big in your own world. Everybody has their own world in their head. And when you get outside that box, it's not really that big. So I mean, if I when I do get to that point, it is what it is. I won't make too much of it, but I also won't play it down. It comes with the territory.
Yeah. Well, I hope that this process has helped you sort of figure out the people in your life that you want to keep around you that are gonna, that are gonna put you off in the right direction. Glad to hear about you and your dad. That's awesome. And man, I wish you nothing but the best. Is there a name in mind? Do you have a name in mind for your next fight, or you haven't thought about it?
Nah, I just need some time to rest, man. Like I said,
Yeah,
I had a fractured hand going into that fight. It wasn't a crazy fracture, but I still had a fracture in my hand, so I need that to rest up and then
yeah.
get some skill building, and then we'll get back in there.
All right, man. Well, hey, wish you nothing but the best. I'll be looking forward to what comes next, and best of luck, man.
Yes, sir, my man. I appreciate you.